It's going to be different now. You're going to have people here.
Ah, yes. For example,
A lot of people.
this is Rosy Barrientos. She's a resident also. She's from Dominicana, but she lives here.
Oh, good. Okay.
She's my friend. Rosy.
Hold on.
Hi.
Also, Ruth Nunez, she's from Dominicana. She's studying pathology.
In serio? That's really okay.
I had problem with my Bible shop.
That's okay.
¿Tú me ves bien? Coño, que por la luz. Que no se ve bien por la luz, por el reflejo de la luz. No se ve bien, ¿verdad?
Debes debes cambiar la posición. Estás a contraluz, cámbiate de posición. No, así no, Manuel, todo lo contrario. Con la computadora hacia allá. No. Dale la vuelta.
¿Cómo estás? ¿Cómo estás, Rosy?
Hi, John.
Hi, good.
Bien.
¿Tú eres un pathólogo? ¿Pathólogo?
No, from first year of neurosurgery.
Okay. No, pero oye bien.
Okay.
Okay. Está en Rusia.
Yes.
Oh, qué bueno. Otro latino en Rusia.
Sí.
No hay mucho tacos allá. Right, Manuel?
Yes.
Tacos here? No, I don't think so.
Okay. Okay, you want to learn how to screen share, right, Manuel?
Yes.
Okay, open your PowerPoint. You have your PowerPoint, right?
I think I don't have PowerPoint here.
Ya está la cámara.
Where is it, the manual?
I am here. I
It's
am
a-
working on it.
You can send it to me if you want.
Oh, better. Yes, I will send to you.
Okay. And then I'll screen share it. You got my WhatsApp or email, whatever.
For email.
Okay. I'm gonna put my email in the chat box again.
I have your email.
Okay.
Believe me, I have your email. I
Okay.
receive every day.
All right.
John, now it's getting hot here in Moscow.
Hot.
Yes.
Oh my God. When you say hot, what does it mean? Just above freezing?
No, not too cold. I just want to say it's not snowing, not too cold, but it's not hot for us.
No, I lived in a place like Moscow up in Canada for a winter. So I know what the bad cold is like. When you walk outside and your breath, you have to wear a hood. Your breath freezes.
Yes, it's truly cold.
Yeah, that is cold.
But when the people here say, "Oh, it's gonna be hot in summer," I say, "Really? Hot?"
Yeah.
Okay, John, I sent to you.
Great. Don't get it yet.
Yeah, it's a big file.
Oh, okay.
Okay, John, check if you get it.
Okay.
Manuel, te voy a poner desde YouTube hoy en mi celular para poder abrir la otra aquí, que la otra tiene un certificado.
Oh, Manuel, no
Yeah.
recibido. ¿Tú estás mandando mi email correcto?
Sí, están en su email.
Oh, okay.
You have it?
Yeah, okay, yeah, okay, llega. Ok, déjame ver si yo puedo. Ok, download. Failed. Huh. Mhm.
Good, John?
No, it didn't, I can't download it. Let me try something. Okay.
Good?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. You always have to improvise on the internet. Something doesn't work, you gotta do something else. It's like surgery, you know, you don't never know what's gonna happen.
That's true.
You gotta improvise, you know. So you're working today, huh? You're at the hospital?
No, I am in home. I use this because all barbershops are closed.
I know, me too. Here, I haven't been able to get a haircut in a while. Can't do much of anything.
So like you say, I have to improvise. So I improvise with this.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to get the Russians going to do some, because we used to broadcast from Tyumen.
From Tumen, yes.
Yeah, we used to with Sufianov, we used to televise a couple times a year, but now not doing much. I want to restart it because Russia is perfect for this platform because they're so spread out.
Yes, that's true.
I just need to find an enthusiastic person, you know. I
Yes.
thought I had one at Tyumen, but
yes, in Tumen there is a lot of enthusiasm people. Professor Sufianov.
yeah, Ibrahim Salamov. Do you know him? Ibrahim Salamov.
For the name, yes. Last name I don't remember, but
yeah,
Ibrahim,
he's pretty active. He's pretty active on the internet. Yeah.
I think he's Ibrahim.
He's in Tyumen now.
Yes, I think it's Ibrahim, a short guy with the black hair.
Yeah.
Yes, I think he is. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he won a surgical skills contest that we televised.
Ah, yes.
Time.
That's him. That's Ibrahim.
That's him. Yeah. And he also was big in social. He did some social media, Russian social media, not Facebook, not something that's particular. And he got involved with doing something.
Yes, it's called BK.
It's only popular in Russia, right?
Yes, yes.
It's in Russian, obviously.
Did you open the file, John?
Yeah, it's okay. It should be okay. Yeah, I'll probably fumble around with it. But is there any sound on it or anything?
What? No, there is no sound.
Okay. Okay, we start in about 5 minutes. Yeah, we'll get about 30 people here. It's not like before, where it'd be 1 or 2. So you're talking about skull-based?
Yes.
Okay. Does anybody want to be introduced? We haven't started yet.
Ada Bang CA di sini.
Ah, banget namanya.
Christian Ade soalnya namanya. PA.
How you doing there? Yeah, I'm John Bennett, the moderator. You just stay muted during the presentation and get to know your mute button. If you're going to talk, unmute, obviously. But, you know, a lot of people, I forget too. So Manuel, 22 panelists. And
That's very good.
we're just starting. Because usually,
When you want, I can start.
no, we got 5 minutes. I'd like to start on time if we can, to be kind of regular about it, you know. How many slides you got?
Like 50.
Oh, okay.
Not too much.
Oh, Otro Español, Juan Andres Joaquin. I don't know where he's from.
Ruth Nunez, she's from Dominicana, study pathologist.
Oh, cool. Yeah, if she likes this platform, tell her get in touch with me. We're starting a lot of channels in Latin America.
No, she's here. She's here in Moscow.
Oh, okay. Do you guys have groups of Latins that meet? Like, do you have the groups of Latins there in Moscow that have a club or something? Like the Latins Club of Moscow or something?
Oh, of what?
Of whatever, of Latins, of just Latins, Latinos.
No, I don't think so.
No.
I think yes. I think yes, maybe.
There's got to be a restaurant the Latins hang out, right?
Restaurant. No, restaurant. Yes, of course. There is a lot.
Yeah, they hang out there. Obviously, that's where they go.
Yeah, there is a lot. Yes, yes.
And Oscar came back to, I think, Ecuador.
Bolivia.
He took my damn headphones. I keep saying, Oscar, those weren't a gift. That's for you to do televising.
You have his number? I'm gonna give you his number.
No, I see him in the conference and I text him during the conference. I said, Oscar, you got the headphones? I'm sure he'll do it eventually. Once he sees I'm serious.
No, he's a very serious guy.
Yeah, I know. That's how I met him. He was giving a lecture in Russian and the sound was terrible. Terrible. So I said, you know, you need some headphones, man. But no lectures so far. But I'm sure he'll get active sooner or later.
Yes,
Everyone's going to have to. It's here to stay. This is not just a phase. Because once people see it, they say, hey, you know, why do I have to travel? Let me see if Hype's coming. Let's see. I don't know. Yeah, we got 1 minute. We'll start in 1 minute, okay?
there is Gerald. He's also here. Gerald, why you don't introduce yourself?
Manuel, I'm just paying attention, listening to the conversation.
It's very common. We introduce ourselves here. It's because John see me a lot of times, but that we know each other very well.
No,
Yeah, we have many conferences. Yeah, you come a lot too, right? The gentleman that speak. Hey, you come a lot. I see your face all the time. Your camera's not working, right? Or your bandwidth's not good?
No, the camera is working. I can turn it on.
Okay. Well, I'll introduce people once we start. Okay, we're going to start in a second here. Let me get you off the screen there. So. Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7. Hold on. I need to get you, how do we get off the screen there? Just 1 second. We got a few more people in. Okay, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good morning. This is Dr. John Bennett broadcasting from Miami Beach, home of Neurosurgical TV. This is another in the daily dose of neurosurgery education, organized by Ib Cherian of neurosurgerycoach.org. And today we have the honor of having Manuel, a neurosurgical resident, un Dominicana, viviendo en Murcia, living in Russia and learning Russian and studying to be he's a neurosurgical resident. So before Manuel takes over, let's go around the panel real quick, see if we can get some people to introduce themselves that wants to introduce themselves. Go ahead. Go ahead, introduce yourself, please.
Hello, everybody. My name is Manuel, second year resident of Neurosurgery, University of Rudan in Moscow.
Okay, very good. Manuel, why don't you start right away? We'll introduce everyone later. Okay, welcome, Manuel, and it's all yours. And just let me know when to change and etc.
Okay, we can start now.
Okay, let me see. Okay. Okay, skull base. Okay. Can you see it okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can go next. Well, the first part is to understand the anatomy of the skull base. We need to say that the precise knowledge and the precise anatomy of the skull base is very important for planning and performing the surgery, but not only in the skull base, any surgeries. First is the anatomy, and then we go to the cadaver, and then we go to the patient. It's like in these pictures, we can see Hamlet of Shakespeare, trying to study and trying to understand the anatomy of the skull base, because it's a very complex anatomy, very narrow spaces, and the important structures we're gonna have there and the function is very important to stop there and read, then cadaver, read again, and then go to the patient. These pictures we can see. Next jump, please. Yes. Before we talk about the skull base and talk about the limits of the skull base, first we need to talk separately about all the structures. In this case, all the bones perform the skull base. Okay. The first bone we're gonna have is the frontal bone. The frontal bone is like a shell we're gonna have here. I'm gonna show, you can see here in the PowerPoint, and I'm gonna show you here also. So in the frontal bone, we're gonna have like all the cranial bones apart, exocranial, from external, and intracranial. In this case, we have this extracranial, so intracranial. The frontal bone have two surfaces, one vertical, you can see here the squama, and another horizontal. It's like a T, and the horizontal part gonna have the orbitofrontal surface, okay? In the exocranial surface, in the squama, you're gonna have this convexity here. You're gonna have the convexity. Here you have this part, the glabella. It's like a protuberance here. If we go lateral, if we go more lateral, we're gonna have the superciliar arc.
Excuse me, Manuel.
Yes.
I'm not seeing your arrow.
Okay.
We're not seeing your arrow. So.
Excellent. Better now.
Okay, do you have an arrow? I can't see. Can anybody else see his arrow?
Now, yes.
No, he's showing on the bone directly.
Okay, you can see it okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Like I was saying, John.
Okay, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
We have the exocranial part here, and we can see this surface, the intracranial. So external, internal. In this part, we have the squama of the frontal bone. It's convex, have a big convexity. So in the other part, we have the internal part, have a concave space. Like I say, the frontal bone have two surfaces, one vertical and the horizontal here. In the horizontal part, we have the superciliar arc. In the lateral. In the middle part, we have the glabella, and sometimes we can see the methopic suture, because in the beginning, in the embryology part, the frontal bone was two. So was two frontal bone, and they mix, they join together, okay? And here we have the nasal process. So sometimes we're gonna see this notch. This notch here is the supraorbitary notch, but sometimes this notch is a canal and become supraorbitary canal, okay? If we see this intracranial part, we have the surcus of the sinus sagittalis superior, okay? And little lower, we have the frontal crest. It's very important to know the frontal crest because we're gonna have here the falx cerebri attached there, okay? In this part, in the internal, we have the ethmoidal notch. Something important is to know the bones tell you to who or to which bone they're gonna attach together, okay? We can see here also, remember, this is frontal bone here, frontal. In the blue, this is a simple one, it's frontal bone, okay? And we have this digital protuberance here, okay? Or digital impression. In this part, middle here, we have the foramen caseum. Okay, John, next, please. Yes. We are seeing the frontal bone from below, okay? The orbitofrontal or orbitary surface. In the orbital surface, in the lateral, we have another depression, lacrimal depression from the lacrimal gland. Here, the ethmoidal notch, and lateral to ethmoidal notch, we have these cells, ethmoidal cells of the frontal bone, because these cells gonna join to the ethmoidal cells of the ethmoidal bone. And here we're gonna have the interforamen from the frontal sinus. Between the ethmoidals to the ethmoidal cells of the frontal bone, we have this notch. Two important, one anterior and one posterior. This notch join together to the notch of the ethmoidal bone. In that way, they become a canal, ethmoidal anterior and ethmoidal posterior canal. Okay, and here we see the frontal bone join to the ethmoidal. Lateral, the ethmoidal join to the zygoma bone, or zygomatic bone, okay? Here, this is the orbital external apophysis or zygomatic apophysis of the frontal bone. Okay, John, next, please. This is the ethmoid bone. The ethmoid bone, like, have a shape like a shark or something. You see, it's like a shark. What is important from the ethmoidal bone? The ethmoidal bone have two surfaces. One vertical here, and two horizontal, okay? This part vertical is divided by a lamina horizontal. It's lamina cribosa. Lamina cribosa divide this part in one superior, crista galli apophysis, and one inferior. Is the perpendicular plate. Okay. Also here we can see the crista galli apophysis here. Okay, and here. So the crista galli going to is convexity to the lateral and going descending the volume from the anterior to inferior. Okay, like here, okay? Okay, you can see here. The inferior part of the vertical is the lamina perpendicular or perpendicular plate. Have 5 borders and gonna join to different bone of the head. Next, John, please. Okay, we are seeing the ethmoidal bone from the back and from anterior. So, like I was saying, the perpendicular lamina here gonna join anterior and superior with the nasal apophysis of the frontal bone. Anterior to the cartilage of the nasal cavity, posterior to the vomer, and posterior and superior also to the sphenoid bone. Okay, go back, John, please.
Back or forward?
Back. Okay, so the horizontal part we're gonna have here, the lamina cribosa. You can see this little hole here is from the olfactory nerve going to the brain, okay? From here. And we have the anterior and posterior ethmoidal arteries, okay? To foramen. Foramen of the anterior ethmoidal artery is branched from the ophthalmic and posterior ethmoidal hole also, foramen.
Excuse me, Manuel.
Yes.
So the panelists are saying they can't see your pointer. And
They
I
cannot?
can't, I can't see that pointer either. We're inexperienced at this, we'll get better, but I myself don't know. I know you can go into your settings does anyone know how to make that pointer prominent?
But I can see. I see you point, and I see mine.
Okay, but I don't see your pointer. Aren't you trying to use your pointer for showing things?
Yes, I'm trying to.
Okay, but we can't see it. We can't see it. So you can see it okay, but you can see a pointer okay?
Okay. I can explain in the skull directly. It's the same.
Okay, whatever. Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, it's okay, John. It's okay. Okay, so like I was saying, the back. In the frontal bone, we have two surfaces, one vertical and another horizontal. The vertical part, the squama. This is the exocranial part of the squama, convexity. Here we have the glabella. And you can see here the methopic suture, okay? Okay. You see the methopic suture here. Okay? Please tell me if you are looking good, if you are watching. Okay, yes, better in the skull. Okay, so we have the methopic here. The joint between the nasal bone, we're gonna have this suture, okay, here. If we go to the lateral, we have the supraciliar arc. John, you see, supraciliar arc. And inferior to the supraciliar arc, we have the boulder, the supraorbitary boulder. Supraorbitary boulder here. In the boulder, we're gonna have this notch. It's normally 2 or 3 centimeters lateral to the middle line. Is the supraorbitary notch. But sometimes this notch is a canal and is become supraorbitary canal, okay? Here. The name gonna tell you what elements going through supraorbitary artery, veins, and nerve, okay? We go more lateral and we see the joint between the zygomatic bone or malar bone and the frontal bone, okay? Is the orbital external apophysis or zygomatic apophysis of the frontal bone. You're gonna have these two names, okay? It's the same. Like I told you, you can see in this part, we have the notch here, but in this one, you see, you have the canal, okay? If we see the bone in the posterior part here, the convexity, okay? In the concave surface, we have superior, the sulcus of the sagittal superior sinus. Inferior, we have the frontal, sulcus here, okay? The notch here. And posterior, we have the foramen caseum. Okay, here. Foramen caseum. I don't have a frontal bone isolate, but in this gray part, there is, John, you can go back, please. Yes, so you can see from the inferior, the bone, you see number 15 Number 15 is the notch, is the ethmoidal notch of the frontal bone. This notch is occupied by the ethmoidal bone, okay? To the lateral of that notch, it's gonna be like the 13, you see, this is the cells, ethmoidal cells of the frontal bone, because these cells going to join to the ethmoidal bone, okay? To the superior surface of the labyrinth ethmoidal, okay? And number 8, you're gonna see number 8 there, lateral to number 8. This is number 8 is the spine of the frontal, okay? Frontal spine. But lateral to number 8, you're gonna see the foramen to the frontal sinus. Okay, okay, John, you can go next. Good. Like I was telling about the ethmoidal bone, we say the ethmoidal bone is composed by 2 surfaces. One vertical, let's say number 1, you see here, number 1. And the horizontal, number 2. To the lateral, you have the number 3 is the ethmoidal labyrinth, okay? The vertical part is divided in 2 surfaces by the number 2. Number 2 is the, here, you can see to say 139 figure. You can see here is the lamina cribosa. The lamina cribosa, you see all the holes are going through from going to the brain. This is the root of the olfactory nerve, okay? Going to the brain. And we're gonna have 2 foramen. One anterior and the other posterior are the foramen ethmoidal, anterior and posterior. Going the elements. Anterior ethmoidal from the ophthalmic artery, and posterior also, okay? Also the nerve, the olfactory nerve. Okay, everybody seeing the screen? Okay, John, everybody seeing the screen, right?
I can't see it.
Okay, okay, because somebody, right, they cannot see the screen. So, like I was saying, number 1 in the superior surface it's called lamina. This is the crista galli, okay? Crista galli in the lateral is convexity, okay? Have 2 convexity. Here again, we go to the cadaver. So this is in the white one, this is the lamina. You see, this is lamina cribosa. Lamina cribosa. And this is crista galli. This is anterior frontal crest. Why these elements are important? Because later, when we're gonna talk about the anterior fossa of the skull base, we're gonna talk about of that elements. Because that element here, take this in mind. In the third inferior of the frontal crest, you have the sinus. We have the sinus there. Is the anterior border. Is anterior border of the frontal fossa of the anterior fossa. Okay, or floor, anterior fossa. Okay. So, like I was saying, lamina cribosa y crista galli. If we see from inferior, number 1 again is the lamina perpendicular or perpendicular plate. This plate gonna articulate with the frontal bone to the cartilage of the nasal cavity, posterior, to the bomber and to the nasal and to the sphenoid bone, okay? This is the articulate of the perpendicular lamina. This plate or lamina, it's important when we are performing a surgery, endoscopic surgery of the nasal cavity. It's very important to know to whom this articulate, okay? Okay, so if you see number 3, this is the labyrinth ethmoidalis. Labyrinth ethmoidalis is the more complex part of this bone. Have 6 surfaces: superior, inferior, lateral, medial, anterior, and posterior. And all these surfaces articulate with different bones. Okay, for example, in figure number 141, we're gonna see from the inferior, okay? We're gonna see from inferior to which bone is gonna articulate. It's gonna articulate with the maxillar bone. Let me see if I can show you something here. Okay, this is the perpendicular plate here. Perpendicular plate here, you see it? Perpendicular plate. This is the nasal cavity perpendicular plate. Going to articulate inferior here with the maxillar or superior maxillary bone. Also, the surface, the anterior surface of the ethmoidal labyrinth going to articulate with the lacrimal bone here. You see the lacrimal bone here, or ungis. Lacrimal bone or ungis. This cranium don't help too much. Okay. Superior, with whom gonna articulate the superior surface of the labyrinth ethmoidalis. Exactly, with the frontal bone, okay? Posterior gonna articulate with the sphenoid bone. John, please, can you?
Next one.
That's the next one. Yes, okay. You can see here in number 144, you can see the posterior surface of the labyrinth ethmoidalis. And you see this sinus, okay? This cavity, this empty cavity, is ethmoidal sinus ethmoidalis. And if you see here, this is the sphenoid bone. You see here, this is the cells, the sphenoid cells. And here going the ethmoid, okay? Here. Going here, okay? You see, it's like a transformer. You see the skull base is like a transformer. All the bones join together. Okay, John? And lateral surface gonna be part of the orbita, okay? Here. You can see here. Lateral surface, here, you see? Gonna perform the medial surface or medial wall of the orbita here. Good. And we have the inferior and posterior part gonna join also with the palatine bone. Okay. John, please, next. No, okay, go back, go back.
Okay.
Go back, no, back, go back. Again, yes, okay. And we have here the medial wall. The medial wall is important because we're gonna have some bones going joined to them, okay? For example, between the medial wall and the cavity, and the nasal cavity, going apophysis going to, it's like a little bones. going through the medial surface to the nasal cavity. Okay, that's the turbinate. Number 4, number 5, and number 6. That's the turbinate. Important. There are 3 normally. Normally there are 3 turbinates. 1 superior, 1 medial, and 1 inferior. The inferior one, it's a different bone, okay? That is the only one who articulates separately, okay? Because the other one are part of the ethmoid bone. But because in medicines, like we say, John, in Dominicana, 2 plus 2 is no necessary 4. Sometimes we're gonna have different one. We're gonna have supernumerary turbinate. We're gonna have 2 more. One of the sugar cane and another supreme. Okay, so we can have not 3, we can have 5 in each side. Okay. Between the turbinates and the wall of and the medial wall of the labyrinth, we're gonna have the meatus. Okay, the meatus. I don't have the number to show you, but you can see between 3 and 4, that space is the meatus. This is the coronal. The 138 figure is the coronal view. Okay. 142, you can see from below. Okay, John, now you can go next, please. Okay. Okay, go next, John. This is the medial bone of the skull base of the. This is the sphenoid bone. The sphenoid bone is look like a butterfly. I think we can see like a butterfly. Gonna have a body and 2 lateral processes. Okay, you can see here. I'm gonna remove these trigeminus bone, and we see here. This is the body, and the lateral process. We're gonna see later the name of that. Okay. Okay, we're gonna talk about the body. The body have 6 surfaces, 1 superior, another inferior, anterior, posterior, and 2 laterals. The superior surface, we're gonna see in number 1, we're gonna see the ethmoidal process of the sphenoid bone, because this is the joint. We're gonna see the joint between. We're gonna see the joint between here. This is the ethmoidal process. We're gonna see the joint between the ethmoidal bone and the sphenoid. Posterior to that, we're gonna see the jugum sphenoidalis. Posterior to number 1, jugum sphenoidalis. And posterior to the jugum sphenoidalis, we see is between number 1 is if you can see between between number 20 and number 1, you see this sulcus. This is the border between the jugum sphenoidalis is the limbus. Okay, limbus. And then number 20, we're gonna see the prechiasmatic sulcus. Prechiasmatic sulcus going lateral and become the optic canals. The optic canal have 5 millimeters approximately. Okay. Then we're gonna see the protuberance of the tuberculi. And here we see sella turcica. Posterior to number 20, sella turcica. I'm gonna show you here. Like I say, jugum sphenoidalis, limbus of sphenoid bone. Then we're gonna have the prechiasmatic sulcus here. You see the prechiasmatic sulcus going lateral to become the optic canals. Okay, here you see the optic canals. The optic canals. Then we have the tuberosella, here protuberance of the cella, and then we have cella turcica. Cella turcica or hypophyseal fossa. Everybody see? Okay, I am showing you the superior surface, okay, of the bone, superior surface of the bone. If we see the anterior surface here, we can see the anterior surface. In the anterior surface, we're going to have the crest, the sphenoid crest, the ethmoidal cells of the sphenoid bone here, ethmoidal cells. You can see here in, okay, in number 152, you can see the anterior view, okay? You can see the anterior view. Sometimes we're gonna find a foramen or ostium of the sphenoidal sinus, okay? When we perform a nasal approach from the cella, that's gonna be our mark or landmark, one of our landmark, the foramen on the rostrum of the sphenoid. We see here the inferior surface. We are looking the inferior surface, okay? The posterior surface is joined directly with the occipital bone. It's joined to the occipital bone here. Okay, you see like this. Okay, in 152, we can see the posterior view of the sphenoid bone. Good. You can go next, John, please. Okay. Go back.
Okay, just a second.
Mm-hmm. No, back.
Okay.
Back. Okay.
Oh,
In the no. In the stay in the sphenoid, please. Okay. In the lateral surface, in the two lateral surface of the body, we're gonna have two apophyses in the lateral surface. Two apophyses. Are the one this very sharp and little is the lesser wing or apophysis of Ingracias here. Lesser wing of the sphenoid, you can see here. Lesser wing. And the major wings of the sphenoid. The lesser wings going to the medial to lateral and going to become more sharp. Gonna have this very sharp boulder. You see here the sharp boulders, and have a extracranial surface or exocranial surface and intracranial surface. You can see, well, in number 5, you can see number 5, this apophysis of the lesser wings gonna transform, gonna join and gonna become like superior orbital fissure, joined to the major wings. They both together. They don't join together like this, no. They both, one superior and one inferior here. One superior, the lesser wing, and the other inferior, the major wing, gonna become all together the orbital superior fissure, okay? So here in the orbit, because if we are seeing like this, we are in the orbit, okay? Here, we are in the orbit here. You can see, we are in the orbit. In the orbit, this is the exocranial part. In the orbit, we can see the optic canal going through here. Optic canal. And here we're gonna see this very important process. This is the anterior clinoid process here. Anterior clinoid process have here. Sometimes we're gonna have in the middle part of the body of the sphenoid, of the sella turcica, we're gonna have the medial clinoid process. Sometimes. Okay, and we have here number 11. Number 11 and number 24, for example, we are looking the major wing of the sphenoid, have an exocranial surface, and we can see the exocranial surface, we can see in number 11 is the exocranial surface, and number 24 is the intracranial surface. Is the intracranial surface. If we see in the inferior surface of the body, we're gonna see another apophysis, one vertical. Is the pterygoid apophysis. We can see, you see number 7. The pterygoid apophysis have two surfaces, one lateral and the other medial. You can see here number 8, number 25 of the figure 152. So I show you here. This is the pterygoid apophysis. This is the lateral surface, internal surface. Okay, this don't help too much also. Okay, you can see here in the skull, you can see in the skull here, this red part, we are looking the skull base from below. And you see here the pterygoid process, okay? The pterygoid process gonna touch the muscles, pterygoid lateral and medial. Okay, important. This bone is very special because it's in the center, and we're gonna have different foraminas going through. We see here number 15. We're gonna have foramen redondus. You see here, number 15. Foramen redondus. Then posterior to that foramen, 5 millimeters posterior, 1 centimeter of 5 or 0.5, we're gonna have the here, ovale, foramen ovale. And posterior and lateral to that, we have, okay, I'm gonna show here. Well, here is very small, but you can see here, foramen espinoso. This is the normal one. Why they're important? Foramen ovale, we're gonna see the second branch of the trigeminus going through the maxilla. In ovale, we're gonna see the third branch, mandibular, going through. And the foramen espinoso, we're gonna see the meningia media arteries going through. So we see 15, redondo. Okay. John, going next, please.
Okay.
This is the superior orbital fusor. We're gonna see here. All the blue you see around is the ring, the zinc ring. I'm gonna attach all the muscles of the eye. In the superior and lateral, we see the nerve going through lacrimal, abducens, and frontal nerve. Okay, and inferior you see the trochlear. You see, John?
Yes.
So in the center of the ring, superior, you have the optic nerve, and the red one is the artery, the ophthalmic artery. And inferior, you have the nerve. And you have the trochlear nerve, and you have also the third nerve. Going next, please, John. Okay, sometimes we have different foramen, supernumerary ones. For example, in this case, John, can you point that one, the
Which
one with the two arrows?
Okay.
Going? No, DRFS. Yes.
Okay.
This is dual foramen spinosus here. You see. We have two foramen spinosus. And in the next one, John, in the red cross, you see the red arrow?
Red arrow.
In the next one.
Oh, the next slide?
In the next picture, yes, in the next
Oh,
picture.
okay.
Yes, in that picture, you see, this is the Vesalius canal. Okay, you can see the Vesalius, this is the Vesalius canal. Next one, please.
Yeah, you can tell me where to point.
Yes. Going next.
Hello, John. Excuse me. Hello. Yes, you can use on your screen. There is like a small pen. This is like a small pen. Click on it. On
No,
your screen.
Zolo, I have his PowerPoint. He doesn't have his PowerPoint.
No. He can point stuff from his screen because I can point. For example, I'm going to point something.
Let's see
right
you
now.
point. Go ahead, Zolo. We're learning something.
For example, I just pointed something.
Okay, you see that, Manuel?
Yes.
Could you explain? We're learning
So
something here, Manuel. Go ahead, Zolo. Tell him.
So you click on the small pen that is on your screen. It's like a pen. So you click on it. It's going to show you it's going to open up and it's going to show you there's a pen, there is a marker, there is how can I put it? Pointer, computer like that. So you choose what you want to use. For example, I've chosen flesh. Mine is in French, so I take flesh, and with the flesh I can point at stuff. And when I'm done pointing, I erase what I pointed. Then I move to the next slide if you want.
Okay,
Then
what does he do? Where does he
slide.
go? How does he start?
He clicks on the small pen on the screen.
Do you see
Then
that
he
small pin on
chooses-
the screen, Manuel?
Yes, but I don't see the pen.
Where is it on the
This
screen?
is too much technology for me.
Oh, okay.
No. Oh, sorry. But
No,
it's
it's
really-
okay. No, I'm learning. That's important.
Okay, so you click on the small pen on the screen, like on the screen.
No,
is
where?
kind-
No, wait, one step at a time. Where is the small pin on the screen?
Small pen on the screen is on the left side of the screen.
Do you see that? One step at a time. Where you see that, Manuel?
Bottom left.
Little pen, I don't see it.
Bottom left.
Bottom left. It's a small pin. It's a small pin, Zolo.
Yes, it's so click on the screen. It's going to show. Once you click on the screen, it's going to show the small pen on the bottom left.
Okay, do you see that, Manuel? Once you click on the screen.
Bottom left of the circle.
Yeah, he said there's a
But
pin
no,
at the bottom left.
When I use in the cell phone, I see it, but I don't see here in the computer.
Okay, I guess we have to just finish the best we can and tell me if you want to point at something, okay?
Yes. Yeah.
Thanks anyways, Zolo. Go ahead, Manuel.
Solo, after that, we're gonna talk and you're gonna teach me how to use that, okay? Definitely.
All right.
Okay, John, going next. Going next, and then we'll go back. Okay. The pin. Yes, I see that pin. Okay. Okay. So you see that I am showing is another foramina. This is the innominative canal of ulnar. Going next, John.
Okay.
Okay. Innominative canal of ulnar. Not that ulnar. Going next. Yes, that's ulnar. So in this number, you can see number 18, we have innominative canal of ulnar. Number 8, we have the foramen spinoso. We see number 7. Everybody know who's that, right? Number 7 here.
Okay.
Okay, we have ovale, foramen ovale. Number 5, foramen redondo. So, like we say, number 5, maxillar branch from the trigeminus. Number 7, mandibular branch. Here you can see the carotid artery. You can see the carotid artery. Look, these anomalies. You see in number 13, sometimes the anterior clinoid, you see my camera?
Not yet.
You see me?
No, we're seeing the PowerPoint now.
You see me? Okay, now you see me?
Do you want me to get off the PowerPoint to see you?
No. I am showing in the bone.
Yes,
Okay.
we see you on. We see you.
Okay, they see me. Okay, so like I was saying, the anterior clinoid process here, and posterior clinoid process. Sometimes they are joined together. Like you can see in number 13. Number 13, they are joined. Sometimes they are joined together by a bone. Sometimes the clinoid process join around the carotid artery, like you see in number 20, and become a foramina, osseous foramen. Okay. So in the body, we're gonna see in the lateral here, we're gonna see the sulcus. This is a model, but use your imagination. This is the carotid artery here. Carotid artery here. And we're gonna see the sulcus of carotid arteries. In the same bone, in the lateral surface of the major wing, we're gonna see the sulcus of the meningia media artery. Number 15 is the lingula. The lingula gonna divide the foramen lacerum in 2 parts. We're gonna talk later about that foramen because that's one of the foramen result of the joint of different bones. Okay. So we already talked about the anterior fossa of the cranial base, because we say frontal crest. We say frontal crest here. The intracranial surface, intracranial orbital surface here, with the digitine surface of the frontal bone, ethmoid bone with the crista galli, lamina cribosa, and jugum sphenoidalis. Okay, and jugum sphenoidalis. The clinoid process, because we trace a line here from the boulders of the minor or the lesser wing of the sphenoid, is the posterior boulders of the frontal of the anterior surface, okay, of the anterior fossa. The clinoid process is not in the anterior fossa, okay? Okay, going next, John. Okay, we have the temporal bone here. The temporal bone is located lateral and inferior in the skull. Gonna perform three parts. Some authors say it's 4. We see the squama. We see the squama here. This is the squama. The mastoid process or mastoid surface. Mastoid surface. And petrous surface. Okay, and petrous surface. First, we're going to start with the squama. No, John, no next. Okay. First, we're going to start with the squama. In the squama, we're going to have this surface, this process is called the zygomatic process or the zygomatic apophysis of the temporal bone, okay? Have 2 surfaces. One, lateral convexity here, you see. Convexity outside to the lateral, and internal is concave, okay? Have this root, this is the root of the zygomatic process here. We see this is the root. The root. If we continue this line, we're gonna see, we're gonna see the supramastoid. We continue this line, you can see the line. We can see the supramastoid crest, okay? Supramastoid crest. If we see, here we have the articulate process. Let's see, very good. This is the articulate process here. Articulate process of the zygomatic. Okay. If we see more down, we're gonna see the glenoid or articulate surface. Okay. We don't have the numbers, but okay. Here we have the outside surface or outside surface of the meatus here. Okay. In the origin of the bone, this is the tympanic bone. In the origin of the bone, because for that some author say is four parts. This is a tympanic part here. This tympanic part is posterior and lateral to the articulate glenoid cavity here. We are seeing the bone from below, okay? Inferior. This is the inferior surface. Okay, here. Okay, so external acoustic here, and we have the internal acoustic here, but we're going to talk about that later, okay? Internal, external. We're going to find a process we don't see here, but we see in this one, a very sharp process. This is the styloid apophysis or styloid process here. We're gonna see the stylomyoid, stylopharynx muscles. Okay, gonna attach here, and stylomandibular ligament. This is the shaft of the styloid process here. This is the shaft of the styloid process here, okay? Okay. Okay, John, you can go next. Okay, I don't have the point here, but this is tympanic notch. You can see here. This is tympanic notch. We are seeing in that pictures, if we see the bone from anterior view, inferior view, lateral, internal. In the squama, you see convexity in the external surface, and internal, you see a little concave. We see the surcus of the meningia media arteries. You're gonna find it there. This is the surcus. You're gonna find the surcus here. Then we have the mastoid process. The mastoid process here. The mastoid process are full of cells, mastoid cells inside, full of air. Outside, we're gonna have this, the gastric process of the mastoid here. We're gonna attach the posterior body of the digastric muscle. Here, we're gonna attach the sternocleidomastoid muscles. Here, we can see the internal or the intracranial surface of the mastoid process. If we see this is the okay, you see here the mastoid process. We're gonna see here this notch. If we see this notch, it's from the sigmoid sinus. The Petro's part have 4 surfaces. One anterior, superior anterior here. Another superior posterior. Another anterior inferior. And posterior inferior. These surfaces are divided by borders. If we see the anterior surface, we're gonna find acoustic meatus here, apex of the Petrous spur, the internal foramen of carotid canal or carotid foramen of the temporal bone here. This is the internal. And we have, this is the internal. And we have here the external canal of the carotid. Okay. You see, external canal, internal canal. We see here petrotympanic suture, and petroescamosis suture gonna divide the scama from the Petrous part. Okay, you cannot see in this one. If we see here, this is the superior border. We're gonna divide the anterior, superior anterior from posterior superior surface of the Petrous part. We can find a notch here, the notch of the Petrous superior sinus here, okay? What other elements we're gonna find in the anterior superior surface? We're gonna have the notch or impression of the trigeminal ganglion. Also, we're gonna find the very small. We're gonna find the Petrous major, Petrous minor groove and foramen, okay, from the nerve. If we see in posterior superior surface, acoustic meatus internal surface here, acoustic meatus internal. Okay, here. What elements going through there? 7 and 8. Remember, 8 going in, 7 going out of the brain. Okay, John, next, please. Okay, I show that, but I don't have the marker here. You can see the stelloid process in that one. Stelloid process is part of the anterior inferior surface. Okay, John. And in the posterior inferior surface, we're gonna have this here, jugular notch, because the jugular foramen is the joint of the occipital and the temporal bone, okay, in the surface. Okay, John, next, please. Okay, we have the occipital bone. The occipital bone is the most posterior bone of the cranium, okay? Have 2 surfaces. One is the basilar part here, basilar part. And the other, we have here the lateral part. In the lateral part, we want to find the scama. Lateral part here, and the scama. In this one, don't have the scama because it was cut. But in this one, in this model, we can see. You see? It's white, but I hope you can see. We are seeing the skull in the posterior view. We are seeing the extracranial surface here, and you see line. You see, okay, number 1, we see the border. This is the suture to join the parietal bone and the temporal bone to the occipital bone. Lambdoid suture. Number 11, we have the scama of the occipital bone. Here we are seeing the external or extracranial surface. We have here this protuberance, inion, or external protuberance occipital here. You can feel it, okay? Number 10, and lateral to number 7, we're gonna have the occipital line crest. Occipital lateral crest, 1 superior, number 7, and 1 inferior, okay? Number 10. Why is important? We're gonna have there rectus capitis. No, John, going back, please.
Okay.
Okay, you see here, rectus capitis, semispinalis, rectus capitis inferior, semispinalis here. One of the muscles gonna join there, okay? If we see the basilar part have internal or intracranial surface, that part also we call it clivus, okay? Here, the clivus or the basilar part. Intracranial and the extracranial. In the extracranial surface, we're gonna have the navicular fossa and pharyngeal fossa. Why pharyngeal fossa? Why? Because the pharynx, the top of the pharynx gonna attach there, okay? The top, the medial part of the top of the pharynx gonna attach there in the basilar part of the occipital bone here. Also, we have here longus capitis, anterior and lateral, and posterior and lateral. We have rectus capitis anterior. Here. Longus and rectus capitis anterior, lateral. Okay. We see in the internal surface or intracranial surface, we see number 3, we have occipital crest. Occipital crest. Number 4, we have the internal protuberance of the occipital here. That is very important from the confluence of the sinus, of posterior sinus we're gonna have there, okay? And the lateral sulcus here, number 2, we have this sulcus, make the sinus transversus, make there. And number 1, you see, is the sulcus, make the sagittal superior sinus, okay? If we see number 2, here is the foramen magnum, occipital foramen. Have more or less 35 millimeters anterior and 40 lateral, okay? To the anterior to posterior, 30, 35, and lateral 40. This is more or less, okay? And not in everybody is the same. Go next, John.
Okay.
We have this process, this articular process here, is the condyle of the occipital bone. Sometimes these condyles are supernumerary. Sometimes, like in the number B, we have 3 condyles sometimes. And in number C, we can join this condyle to the ligament of the axis, okay? To the occipital axial ligament. Sometimes they are joined and ossificated. And maybe we're gonna misunderstood that anatomy if we have there that kind of variation. We have here anterior condyle foramen or hypoglossal foramen, okay? From the hypoglossal nerve. Next, John, please. Okay, and before the limits, you see this notch? This is the jugular notch. Jugular notch. This jugular notch here. This jugular notch. Remember, when we joined with the temporal, this like a transformer, you see? Okay, gonna become the jugular foramen. About the limits. We need to know and remember the skull base have 2 surfaces, one external and the other is internal. Go next, John, please. If we talk about the limits of the external or exocranial skull base surface, exocranial, okay? In this case, it's the exocranial. In this case, we have the glabella here, the anterior point. Next, John, please. Next, we're gonna have the line from the supraorbitary arc. Wait, go back, John, please. Yes, from the supraorbitary arc, going a line going through the root of the zygomatic process until inion, okay? Until inion. Until inion. So this is the limit of the skull base, but in the exocranial surface. Because in the intracranial surface, we're gonna talk about now. Go next, John, please. Going next. So we are looking the skull base from below, and we see we can divide. Next jump, please. We can divide with two lines, two horizontal lines. No, go back, jump, please. With two horizontal lines, one going through here from the zygomatic process. From the zygomatic process here, you see, from the zygomatic process of the temporal bone, and another from the mastoid, and another from the mastoid process. So we have one interzygomatic and the other B-mastoid lines here, and B-mastoid lines. So we have three surfaces. Going next jump, please. So we can say now, this is the facial zone of the skull base. We talk about the limits, and the elements and the bones we're gonna have is the orbital cavity with the walls, superior walls, lateral and medial walls. The ethmoidal bone in the center, and part of the sphenoid bone here to the lateral, you see? Number 13 is the sphenoid bone, okay? It's exocranial surface of the major wing. And the boulder anterior we have here also. Next one, please, John. Okay, next, to see the lines. Okay, this is the medial zone between the two lines, the B-zygomatic lines and B-mastoid lines. This is the jugular zone. If we put the points, if we use 4 points, next jump, please. If we put the points between the root of the zygoma, the external surface of the pterygoid process, okay, you can see there, the mastoid process. Next one, John, please. Next, and the condylar process. We have like a square. We make the lines. Next, John, please. Yes, next. Next. And you can see you're gonna have next. You're gonna have two triangles. You have the square, and then we cross a line here, yes, and we're gonna have two triangles, one lateral and one medial. In the lateral triangle, in the lateral anterolateral triangle, we're gonna have the glenoid cavity, and we're gonna have the foramen rotundum. In the anterior and the posteromedial triangle, we're gonna have the foramen ovale, spinoso, jugular, and the external carotid foramen or duct, okay? Okay, go next jump, please. We're seeing the inferior or below the skull base surface and the muscles insertion. The muscle insertion we're gonna have here, for example, in the zygoma, we're gonna have the masseteric muscle here, masseteric muscle in the inferior border. In the lateral or exocranial surface of the squamous, we're gonna have the temporal muscles. If we see more below, we're gonna have the pterygoid process. We're gonna see the pterygoid process. In the external surface of the pterygoid, we're gonna have tensor belli palati, levator belli palati, pterygoid medial, and pterygoid medial here, pterygoid medial, and pterygoid lateral muscles. If we see in the occipital here, We see in the occipital bone here, we see rectus capitis posterior minor, semispinalis muscles here. You remember the lines we talk about, occipital superior line and inferior. In the inferior occipital line, we have trapezius here. You can see the trapezius here, okay? If we see in the temporal bone joined to the occipital in the mastoid process, we have the sternocleidomastoid here. The gastric muscles, in the gastric notch, we have the gastric muscle, but we have, remember, we have the posterior body of the digastric here. And also we have the splenium. There are some of the muscles we're gonna see attached to the skull base. Go next, John, please. Okay, so this is the limits of the anterior fossa. There are the limits of the anterior fossa we're gonna see. Like we say, frontal crest here. All the surface of the intracranial or intracerebral surface of the orbiter, ethmoid bone with the crista galli, lamina cribosa, juguosphenoidalis, and the posterior border of the lamina of the lesser wing. Okay, next jump, please. Okay, we are seeing here the anterior and medial fossa joined together, but you are seeing from the posterior view. Okay, going next. The middle fossa. In the middle fossa, we see are the limits, the anterior limits of the middle fossa are the posterior limits of the anterior fossa. So we see, we can say the posterior border of the lesser wing here, posterior border of the lesser wing, internal surface of the squama of the temporal bone here. This is the inferior mandibula. This is the temporal. And we see here the internal surface of the temporal. And posterior, we have the superior border of the temporal bone. So we have the petrous part, but we have the anterosuperior part of the petrous part of the temporal bone. So this is the only part we're gonna have here, okay? Squama, internal surface, anterosuperior surface of the petrous. And in the middle part, we're gonna have the dorso here, dorso of sella turcica, dorso of the sella turcica. Those are the limits of the middle fossa. And the elements we're gonna have, we see here the foramen lacerum. We see here foramen lacerum. The foramen lacerum, you see here, foramen lacerum. The foramen lacerum is a joint, because we talk about that. It's a joint between the sphenoid and the temporal bone, the petrous part of the temporal bone. Okay. Okay, go next, John. Okay, they rate me and the points. Yes, yes. Okay, my apologies because I don't have the pointer here. But the next time we're gonna solve that better.
Yeah,
Oh,
I should have known.
What, John?
Yeah, I should have known it also, but I don't. But
No,
I'll learn it. We'll both learn it.
No, for the next time I will try to make with my cell phone. I think it's gonna be
Okay.
better.
Okay, we'll test it. Okay, very good.
Okay, so like we are seeing the posterior fossa, medial fossa also. Okay. Go next, John. If we see, this is the overview of the intercranial fossa with all elements we're gonna see on it. We already talked about the anterior fossa. We see here the optic nerve, the carotid. We see posterior and lateral, we see the mandibular nerve. And lateral, we always need to remember lateral, posterior and lateral to mandibular nerve, we're gonna have foramen spinoso. And in foramen spinoso, we have the meningeal medial artery. Meningeal medial artery, remember, is a branch from the maxillary artery. Okay, and in posterior, the limits of posterior fossa are posterior of the dorso of sella turcica, and remember, this is the superior border, the superior border of the petrox part of the temporal bone. So that are the limits, anterior limits. The anterior limits until going there, until posterior part going to transversus sulcus. That's all the limits of the posterior fossa. Okay, we see there the sigmoid sinus. We see the petrous superior sinus and petrous inferior sinus. Remember, the petrous superior sinus is our superior limits of the petrous part of the temporal bone. Okay, go next, John. Okay, so we see the anterior fossa with some elements. We see the olfactory groove, the olfactory nerve, and we see foramen caseum. The anterior view we see here, what we see with the meningia, with the dura mater, sorry. We see crest, and posterior to the crest, posterior and inferior, we see foramen caseum, some emissary veins going through, and attached to the crista galli, we see the falx cerebri. Posterior falx cerebri, we see the bulb of the olfactory nerve and the olfactory nerve going posterior. Okay. There we see the boulders and we see the optical nerve. Going next, John, please. Yes. If you remember, if we are looking the superior, if we are looking the anterior fossa, if we see from superior view, and we remove the anterior and antero superior surface of the frontal here of the wall, we're gonna see the frontal sinus. We see the frontal sinus here. We see the frontal sinus here. And posterior to that sinus, we see the ethmoidal sinus with the ethmoidal cells. We can see there. Lateral, because we need to think in 3D. Lateral to the ethmoidal cells, ethmoidal sinus, we see the orbital cavity, and you can see there. You see the orbit with the fat. and posterior to the ethmoidal sinus, we see what we have, the sphenoid sinus. Sphenoid sinus there, you see. So frontal sinus, ethmoidal sinus, and sphenoid sinus. That's if we are drilling. So it's something we need to remember in the time scan and we are drilling that area. Or if we are going from below to superior, to inferior to superior. If we are going to endonasal approach, for example, we can get to the anterior fossa, even from the nose. Or if we can go to the middle fossa also, or to the posterior fossa. Okay, go next, John, please. Okay, we are seeing in a lateral view, superlateral view of the middle fossa. It's a pity, like we cannot, I cannot point, but we can see very important elements. You can see very important elements. I think one of the most important, elements we can find is the carotid internal artery there, because everybody is around the carotid and the sinus. Carotid and the sinus, everybody is around it. We see the trigeminal nerve. Use your imagination. And this is the trigeminus, okay? Ophthalmic, maxillar, mandibular. Okay? This is our sphenoid. This is the carotid here. And we put it in the respective foramina. Okay, we put in the respective foramina. Superior orbital fissure, you see, ophthalmic, the branches of the ophthalmic, okay, the branches of the ophthalmic nerve. Here, mandibular. And here, maxillar or mandibular superior, if you want to, like the old anatomies, classic anatomies call it, superior mandibular or maxillar nerve, and inferior maxillar or mandibular here, nerve, okay? And you can see in the picture there, somebody can point it, please? Because this is very important. Yes, yes, okay, John, go back. The point, yes, okay. So this is the porus of trigeminus nerve, before going to the little next and going forward. Forward. Yeah. Yes, and then we have the semilunar, because in the anatomy, yes, thank you so much. In the classic anatomy, we say this is a semilunar ganglion. The gastric ganglion is like a semilunar shape. You can see there. This is the center part, and from that part, that semilunar part, from the convexity, going the olfactory, the ophthalmic, that one in blue. Thank you so much. Next, we have the mandibular. Yes, mandibular. Oh, this is touch.
Next slide.
Then we have the, yes, this is the maxillar one. And inferior, we have the mandibular. Yes, inferior we have, yes. Okay, good. So blue, yes, ophthalmic. In red we have the maxillar, but like I said before, the classic anatomy call it mandibular superior. But to avoid misunderstanding, we just, like now, we call it, no. That semilunar, no. That semilunar is not there, no. No, that one say semilunar is not. Like I was saying, we call it just maxillar and mandibular. Okay, yes. So You see that one, the one you pointed and you pointed and put it semilunar. You can point it again. Yes, that one. Which nerve you think this is? This one. You see two vessels going like make a clamp on that. Two vessels make a clamp on this nerve, like a clamp, and going to the superior orbital fusor. This is the third nerve, oculomotor nerve. You see, oculomotor nerve there. Yes. And inferior to that nerve, this is that one. Wait, that one you choose is carotid, the intrapetrous part of the carotid. Okay, that one you choose. You can choose, please. You can point it again. Yes, that's carotid also. Yes, so we have the C2 part of the carotid, because we remove the in that part the clinoid process is removed. Okay, the clinoid is removed. You see this carotid, and that one also inferior. You see, inferior to the mandibular, we have bone, but it's drilled. So we have the intrapetrous part of the carotid there. Yes, exactly. This is the intrapetrous part of the carotid. And you see that nerve going lateral. That little branch going lateral to that carotid. Yes, that GSPA, okay? And you see the meningia media artery also, more lateral to that. Exactly, thank you so much. That's meningia media artery. So if you see, we have this space. This is the posterior, but we're gonna talk about that more later. This is the posterolateral triangle. Or Glasgow triangle. Posterolateral. Posterol, this is the, yes, this is the posterolateral space. Okay, going next. John, please go next. Okay, yes. So, okay, we are seeing again the middle fossa with the dura, and the other one in the pictures inferior we see without dura, and we can see the trigeminal nerve here, and the elements we just talked about them before. Okay, next, please. Okay, so this is the limits of the posterior fossa, like we said, posterior to the dorsocella. We're going to the border, superior border here, posterior border, going line to transverse crest here, transverse crest. All of that is posterior fossa. Okay, that's we have the arrows is going, it's pointed. What is that? We talk about that and we say jugular notch from the occipital and jugular notch of the posterior inferior part of the petrous part of the temporal bone. We see here, okay? So this is the jugular foramen. What elements going next, please? What elements going next, going to the jugular foramen? Okay, next, John, please. Okay. We see the jugular foramen, and we see between this little notch, this notch from the occipital and the temporal, we have a ligament, okay? We have a ligament to divide the jugular foramen in anterior and posterior, okay? And we see after the sigmoid sinus going through, change its name and call it jugular vein, or also called carotid vein of Sevilieu. This is from the classic anatomy. And anterior, we have the nerve elements going there, okay? It's 9, 10, and 11. And more anterior, we have the petrous inferior sinus going there, okay? You can see there. Going next, John, please. Yes, you can see there in number 1, you see the sinus, sigmoid sinus going. Number 2, you see the siphon of the sinus before change the name. You see in number 9, you see number 9, this is the sinus. This is the petrous inferior sinus going, okay, going there. Yes, exactly. So this is the sigmoid sinus before change its name. But in number 3, already is jugular vein, internal jugular vein, okay? You see in number 6, there is in number 6, we have this occipital posterior foramen. This is condyle. Posterior to condyle, we have here this foramina going, some vessels, some veins going through. Yes, excellent. From that foramen. Yes, from condyle posterior foramen. Good. And we see A, B, and C. We see the nerve elements going there. Okay, go next. This is a view, a very beautiful view of the John.
Yes.
This was here in Moscow.
What this section?
Yes, yeah. No, I'm joking. No,
Oh, okay.
this is a picture of Rotten. This is a very beautiful view. We are seeing of the posterior fossa. We're seeing the posterior fossa with all elements. We make a corner cut. Make a corner cut here. We make a corner cut, and we remove the bony part of the occipital, and we see the vertebral artery. We can see all the stem brain, and you can see here all the nerves. Going next, John, please. We're gonna remove the stem brain. So we remove the stem brain, and still we are looking posterior view. We are looking at posterior view of the posterior fossa, and we see this very beautiful artery, the basilar artery, vertebral artery also. So you can see here, you can please, you can point the jugular foramen. So you see all the elements going through. You see the spinal. Yes, you see the spinal nerve going from very inferior to superior. You see the 10. You see the 9 cranial nerve going through the jugular foramen. No, this is red, no. And superior, you can see the internal acoustic meatus. You see the 7 and 8 nerve. Okay, okay. If you cannot point it, okay. We can go next, John, please.
Okay.
So we see the jugular. Yes, we see the jugular foramina, and superior we see the internal meato-acoustic here. Superior meato-acoustic is supposed to be there, and you see the artery very attached, the labyrinth artery. You see the labyrinth artery there. No. More up, because I am showing you the jugular foramen. Okay, going next, John, please. Okay, so this is one of the protagonists of the skull base. Talk about the vascular elements of the skull base. We need to talk separately because we need a long time to talk about the veins and the arteries. Okay. So some topics of the cavernous sinus is in the center of the cranial fossa. Have 6 walls: anterior, posterior, lateral, medial, superior, and inferior wall. Have approximately 2.5 centimeters to anterior to posterior and 2 centimeters lateral. The elements we're gonna find going through the cavernous sinus. The principal one is the artery, the internal carotid artery. But the internal carotid artery is not, we cannot say is inside. It's not, we cannot say it's inside. Going through, but it's not inside. It's like when we say we take food, and the food is in the tracts, in the digital tract, but we cannot say it's inside. So the artery is separate to of the sinus. Okay, it's separated by the from the internal layer in the sinus, in the vascular layer, and also it's very separated by some ligaments, carotid ligaments of Trollal ligaments. It's attached and separated, the carotid from the sinus. You see here. You see in the coronal view. You see in the coronal view, you can see the sinus and the elements. Some elements going to. The only elements really going through the sinus, you can see there is the trochlear nerve. You see the trochlear nerve there? Sorry, you see the abducens nerve there? You see it? Okay, so it's the only one because the other nerve, the oculomotor, trochlear nerve, and ophthalmic, they are between the lateral wall, okay? Because lateral will have 2 layers, okay? One external and one internal layer. Between these layers, you see me, John?
Yes.
Okay, so between these 2 layers are the elements between these 2 layers. Okay, next, John, please. Okay, in this view, you can see the carotid artery. Carotid artery, this is a view. You can see the view. What kind of view we are seeing? Lateral or medial view? Because we can see the trigeminal nerve and the other nerve. So we already know we're seeing from lateral to medial. Okay, this one. So this is the left or right? This is the left. Somebody tell me it's medial. No, it's not medial because we need to
It's
remember.
lateral. It is lateral because the carotid is medial to
Exactly.
the medial to the nerves.
Exactly. And we are seeing in the left or right.
Keep rolling, Daddy.
What?
This is the left side.
Exactly. This is the left, right, and we're seeing from lateral. Okay. So from we can see the carotid. The carotid have 7 segments. The number 7 is it's cervical. And we see the number 5, intrapetrous, intracavernous, supracavernous, clinoid segment, okay? Okay, thank you so much. Okay, go next.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Okay, so these are the triangles. The triangles are a topographic view of the relationship between the carotid, the cavernous sinus, and the nerve in that area. Okay. Next jump, please. The triangles we wish be like that, but reality is like that. Okay. So why like Bermuda triangles? It's because it's very narrow. Everybody can lose in that area, and it's very dangerous. You see that part? You see, and John, please put the cursor. No, more down, down, a little more, little up, little more. Yes, stop. Go left. No, it's you're right. More. It's up there. Yes. That's a paradise. You know that, John?
Puerto Rico.
No. The other one. That's one. Dominicana.
Oh, Dominicana. Yeah, Puerto Plata.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Yes. Always is sunny there. Sunshine. Okay. Next one.
Barra de Navidad.
Yes. Always good weather.
Yep.
Go next.
Okay.
So the triangles, what we need to remind, we need to see the triangles in 3D space. Okay. Go next, John, please. We need to see from superior and lateral. This triangle we have here is the clinoid triangle or anterior triangle. Are between, you see number 1, Number 1 is between lateral, is between the lateral border of the optic nerve and medial border of the oculomotor nerve. And posterior, we have the tentorium. That's the limit of the anterior triangle. Next, John, please. So also the name of this clinoid triangle is Döhlig's triangle, okay? Okay, John, next, please. There we have the oculomotor triangle or superior triangle are between the anterior clinoid and posterior clinoid. And the faults between both, we have the superior triangle or oculomotor triangle. The elements in that triangle is the oculomotor nerve, okay? Next, John, please. Yep, oculomotor triangle. Next, John, please. Okay. So the name of the oculomotor triangle also or superior triangle also. Okay, John is Hakuba. Hakuba, you can go next, please. So we have here the supratrochlear triangle. Between the name gonna tell us what's the triangle. It's between the lateral border of oculomotor and medial border of the trochlear nerve. Next, John, please. Infratrochlear triangle is one of the most famous. Everybody always heard about that. Is the Parkinson triangle. We have the limits. The limits, it say in the name, say itself. The limits are the the lateral border of the trochlear nerve and the superior and medial border of the ophthalmic nerve are the principal limits. Why this triangle is so important? It's because it permits the abducent nerve completely exposed and enter to the Dorelus canal to go into the superior orbital fusel also. We can enter to anomalies of the ICA, of the internal carotid artery. Okay, next jump, please. So we have the anterior medial triangle. Next jump, please. I put the, no, go back. So you see between V, real, I cannot call it V1. John, what do you think about it? Because it's not a V, it's a Roman number.
Oh, okay, it's a 5.
Yes, but always is like, it's not a V. So yeah. Between the ophthalmic nerve and between the maxillar nerve, we're gonna have this triangle. This really is a triangle, is the Mullan triangle. So we have the Mullan triangles or anteromedial. The limits are the ophthalmic nerve, superior and lateral, maxillar nerve, and the superior orbital fusor to foramen rotundum are the limits, okay? Excellent, thank you so much. That's Mullan's triangle. What it contains is the sphenoid sinus. If we go there, we go into the sphenoid sinus or the superior ophthalmic veins, okay? Also the abducens, okay? And inferior we see between maxillar and mandibular. Between maxillar and mandibular, we have the anterolateral triangle. Okay. Excellent, yes. And we have two posterior triangles. Is the posterolateral triangle and posteromedial triangle. Go next, and we're gonna talk about the limits now. Go next, John, please. Yes, exactly. Next. Okay, so this triangle is between maxillar and mandibular. We have anterolateral triangle. Next. Next, yes. So we have posterolateral triangle is Kawashi's triangle between mandibular nerve, the GSPN there, greater petrosus nerve there. It's not like a triangle, it's like a rhomboid space. Okay. Like we say, we can go into the Petrus part of the carotid there, and also to the vertebrobasilar junction. Okay. Yes. Going next, please. So we have there the posteromedial triangle or Glasgow triangle. It's bordered by the mandibular nerve, greater petrosal nerve, and foramen spinosus. Two are quite eminent there. And the horizontal petros ica is there. Okay, next John, please. So again, the anteromedial triangle. Next. The famous one between infratrochlear, between ophthalmic and trochlear nerve, Parkinson triangle. Okay, next John, please. So this is another view of the triangle. We are seeing the triangle from the superior view. Okay, you see number one. You see number one. Number one is the superior triangle. The oculomotor triangle is there. Sorry, the oculomotor nerve is there. Okay. Number two, you see between the optic nerve and between oculomotor. What triangle is that? The clinoid triangle. Number three, supratrochlear triangle. Number four, Parkinson triangle. Number five is the Mullans triangle, the anteromedial, 6 anterolateral triangle. Number 7 is the posterolateral triangle. Number 8 is the posteromedial triangle. 7 is Kawase, 8 Glasgow. Exactly. Thank you so much. And number 9 is posterolateral. Is the paracleval region, paracleval triangles. Going next. This is the inferomedial and yes, inferolateral and inferomedial. Okay, we have, okay, I'm gonna show there. You see, this is the inferolateral and inferomedial triangle. The inferomedial paracleval triangle is bordered a line from the dura entries of the trochlear abducing nerve. Okay, it's a line from the dura entries of the abducens nerve and the posterior clinoid and the petros apex. It contains the porus of the abducens going to the Dorellos canal and Grubel ligament. You see there, you see the abducens. It's like the landmark between the inferomedial and inferolateral triangles. Yes, you can show it's paraclevar. Remember, we are looking, this picture is from superior, but we are looking lateral superior, like a little oblique. Okay, go next. Okay, we see the medial fossa again, greater petrosus nerve. Okay, continue, John, please. Again, we see the full elements of the fossa. Remember, in that view, we drill the wall of the medial fossa. We drill also the part of the superior wall, part of the anterior wall. You can see that very tiny nerve going to posterior to anterior. Is the trochlear, okay? You see there? The trochlear, the posterior to anterior, the smallest one. Okay, going next, John. This is the sinus. You see the sinus here, sphenoid sinus. Hypophysis there. You see the hypophysis? Okay, somebody can show me, please, the clinoid triangle there. You see optic nerve. and oculomotor.
Someone show it. Anybody?
Okay, it's okay, it's okay.
It's okay, go ahead, continue on.
Okay. Exactly. Thank you so much. We see here, this is the clinoid triangle, anterior triangle. And somebody can show me the Parkinson triangle, please? Remember, Parkinson triangle is the infratrochlear triangle. So we're gonna find it inferior to the trochlear nerve. Yes, exactly. Yes, remember, they move the trigeminal nerve. They move it, so it's supposed to be more close because this is the most narrow, one of the most narrow of the triangles. So the dimensions are the 13, 16, and 6.2 millimeters from the medial to lateral and base space. Okay. Next. So again, we are seeing the medial fossa. We see you see in this one, they cut the trochlear nerve. Okay, next one, John, please. We see the anteromedial, anterolateral triangle. We're seeing posterior fossa again, and we see the trochlear nerve going to the back to anterior, okay? And we see the trigeminal nerve going next, John, please. Again, we see this is the posterior view of the fossa, of the posterior fossa. We see the trigeminal nerve here, the porus trigeminus, abducens. Okay. Jugular foramen. Okay, go next, John, please. Okay. So thank you so much.
Okay.
Any question?
Very good. Dicky, let me stop sharing here. Yeah, we apologize to everyone for our lack of technical expertise, but we'll get better. Right, so Manuel? We'll get better with everything. And we'll get some help with Zolo and others. Okay, any comments? Quick, I've got to go to another meeting of Jordan Neurosurgery Grand Rounds. We're getting busy here. But any quick comments or interaction with Manuel? Or anybody we just want to say hi, thank you? Well, I think everyone's mad at me, Manuel, mad at us here.
Why?
Because we didn't get the pointer down. We made him sit through the whole thing. But anyways,
it's because I'm using this laptop. I don't have the word. I don't have the word, but for the next time, I'm gonna have the pointer. Okay.
Okay. Let me just show. Go ahead. Go ahead.
It was a very, very good lecture. You know, it was very good revision. I'd forgotten all those triangles, but you made it very, very easy to remember. I enjoyed it.
Thank you, Gerald.
Yeah.
Okay, let me do some screen sharing here. Manuel, this is and you're all invited to come to this. This is a Jordan Neurosurgery Grand Rounds in about 15 minutes. And I'll put the link at the bottom of in the chat box if people want to come into here's the I'm going to put this link in to the chat box of it's amazing, huh, Manuel? Okay, I'm going to put it in for everybody to come. And
yes, of course I will go.
Yeah, okay. Anybody, there it is. You can come into the panel just like you did here. So please copy that before I sign off here. But yeah, neuroanatomy is so darn important. I mean, you've got to know it cold.
Yes, neuroanatomy for us, because we need to study like we don't have neuronavigation.
Okay.
we need to read and trying to understand. Like if we don't have neuronavigation, I think is just to confirm what we know.
Okay. Okay, very good. Well, Manuel, I'm sorry to go so quickly. We look forward to your next presentation. And thanks everybody for coming.
Thank you so much, John. Thank you, everybody.
Okay, thank
Thank
you.
you.
Oh,